title, this video is concerning the Audi A7 Black Edition, and specifically my Audi A7 Black Edition. It's quite a mouthful, isn't it? So yes, the A6 2-litre came up for renewal on its contract, and so I chose this. I still need 5 seats. I want a bit of excitement because I can't quite afford to do the sports car for weekend, normal car for weekday. By the way, check out the scenery. Can you see that? That's a rather large lake in Wales. I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry. I'll put a little caption there so you can see it. So yeah, I chose this car because I need 5 seats and I wanted something a bit more powerful, and I got a fantastic deal which I'll talk about later on. But the car itself, this is a 3-litre V6 turbo diesel. It's got an enormous turbo. This is the mid-range A7. This is the 272 PS or 268 horsepower if you prefer, and importantly 580 newton meters of torque, which is a lot. If you remember from the Ferrari F430 video, that was 435 newton meters of torque. Massive difference in horsepower, of course, but torque wise this has got lots of it, and this will throw the car up the road to 60 in 5.3 seconds, which is pretty damn quick for a big car. Don't forget, 5-seat GT coupe sort of thing, big boot, long distance cruiser, but very, very quick. And on performance wise, when you really notice that performance, apart from the 0-60 off the lights, is at sort of motorway speeds, and accelerating from say 50 to 70 is blisteringly quick. Very, very impressive. Noise wise, we've spoken about noise in these videos before. You get a good V6 growl from this. It's not loud or leery like the F-Type is, but nor is it supposed to be. It's growly when you want it to be. You put it in sport mode, a little bit more noisy, and lots more acceleration, which is absolutely fantastic. But ultimately, this is a cruiser, I suppose you would say, with a sporty edge. So this is the mid-range car, like I say. It's very powerful, very quick, and lots of toys to play with. I actually had to write a list down to remind myself, and here goes, I'm going to try and remember them. So with the deal I got on this car, which I can't wait to tell you about, I got the tech pack, and with that I get a head-up display, which took a bit of getting used to, and I'll show you that in a minute when I do the interior piece. But now I rely on it all the time. I get the speed and navigational cues as well displayed on the screen in front of me rather than looking down at the dials, which now I've got used to it is brilliant. I get Audi phone box, so in the cubby hole down here I can rest my phone on a rubber pad and that will charge it automatically without any wires, and also boost phone signal and improve Bluetooth connectivity to the car. Really useful. I get memory seats, hallelujah. My wife is a little bit shorter than me, shall we say, and so no more fiddling with levers and things. Press one button on the memory seat and bingo, you're absolutely laughing. LED matrix headlights. If you've never experienced them before, they are something to behold. Even my 14-year-old daughter, who is very unimpressed with everything to do with cars, was gobsmacked at LED matrix headlights. And I have tried to film it and failed dismally. Even this GoPro, which is brilliant, can't really show you the full effect. But LED matrix, the quick explanation is each headlight unit has several LED bulbs in it. Each of them is individually addressable and controlled by a camera at the very top of the windscreen, which points down the road and detects oncoming cars or rear tail lights, and only switches off the bulbs that will blind another driver. That's clever. Also, which has been created just for pure pose value, when the lights first flick on to full beam, they open in a sort of curtain effect, which I think looks really cool. But that's just me. So this car is dripping with technology. Self-parking, I'm going to show you that as well. Also, that's a bit of a gimmick, but this car's big, quite big indeed. It's several inches wider and longer than the A6, and so parking is tricky. So with automated parking, which is the sensors are all the way around the car to steer a car into a parking space, either parallel parking or perpendicular parking, that's the really cool one. It's amazing. Very, very useful. Part of the tech pack, and definitely worth having. So it's got all the usual things with most Audi, so cruise control and all that other stuff, full zone climate control, which the kids love in the back. Very, very useful indeed. So lots going on in this car. Anyway, anyway, enough of all the technology. Let's take a look at the outside. And the exterior of the car. Love the lights at the back. They look great at night, which I'll show you later on. In the Glacier White, pearlescent paint, albeit slightly dirty. And here, in particular, are these fantastic rotor arm alloys. 21 inches, all curbed, obviously. The black edition, as I mentioned earlier on, no chrome anywhere, which I think looks great. Very mean looking. S-Line badge, which is good. Here you can see what the head-up display looks like from the outside. I'll talk about that in a minute on the interior. And then from the front, classic Audi look to it, which is fine. And the gloss grille looks good too. So I want to focus on this bit here. The Matrix LED headlights, individual LEDs, controlled by a computer and a camera, held up here, which dictates how the lights shine on the road and not blind people and turn into corners as dictated by the camera plus the GPS system, which I'm going to show you later on. But for now, that's the exterior of what I think is a rather handsome looking car. Those wheels really do make a huge difference. But as you can see, very tall wheels, not much rubber, means curbing. And now to the interior of the A7. You can see some similarities to the A6 in terms of layout, control, switch and so on, but some improvements. So in the centre, with the tech pack, you get this central display, which at the moment is configured to be the sat-nav in between the dials, which is really, really useful on the move, because it means that your funky pop-up screen can have anything else you like. So at the moment it's showing my awful taste in music, but you know, telephone systems and car settings, suspension and so on can be there, and sat-nav there, very, very useful. Cruise control, of course. The voice system in this car is actually very good, much better, much more improved over the A6. Very clear, actually does what you ask it to do, which is always a bit of a bonus. And then, can you see that? It's flickering a bit in the camera, I think, but head-up display, showing my speedo projected in front of me. Not sure why you need that enormous piece of plastic on the dashboard to show that. And that is part of the tech pack, only £3,500. But that you do get the better display in the middle and that much bigger screen in the centre and the head-up display, and trying to pan too fast, keep the quality okay. In the centre binnacle you get this thing here, which is the Audi phone box. You lie your phone on there, it charges it and boosts the signal strength by 20% as well, which is very, very useful. That little cable there is so I can plug my phone into the audio system, and it gives me an auto jukebox, so I can suck all the music out of my phone into the hard drive in the car, which is very, very useful given how awful my taste in music is and the volume of awful music I have. Lots of piano black in the black edition, which is what this car, which is great, except it scratches too easily and it's forever dusty, which if you're OCD like me is a bit of a problem. But you've got to say the quality is very, very good, very Audi. I like the S-Line badging on the seats. And then 3 seats in the back. Very, very nice. Very well made. A lovely place to sit. And I can sit in this. That's my ringtone, I'm sorry about that. For hours. 3 hours, 4 hours I've done in this car and not feel it at the other end. Which is a testament to the quality of the seats and the way this thing's put together. Very nice indeed. So just one of my pet dislikes about my car is the remote boot. So on the key, here somewhere, middle button, press and hold. All very clever, full of shopping bags of course, blah blah. Isn't that great? But I can't press anything to close it again. I have to press the button. So, you know, first world problems and all that, but it seems a bit odd. You've got to press a button to shut it rather than the remote doing it. I have had Audi cars before that have had remote close, so why not on this one? Anyway, back to the rest of it. goes all right. So here we go, my attempt to film the Matrix LED lights. Doesn't work on the GoPro, so I'm trying it on my iPhone. As you can tell by the funny way the film's coming out. Right, let's give it a go. So that's off. So that's a sort of curtains effect I was talking about. So off again and back on, see how it sweeps open. Now I think that's quite cool. The next bit to try and find or see or even demonstrate is how it blocks out blinding other drivers. Let's give that a go as well. Let's try and find some other cars. In the meantime, let's do the curtains thing again. Do you all think I'm mad? There we go. I think that's quite cool. Right, let's go and find some other cars so I can show you the anti-blinding thing. Now, watch down the road. I'm on full beam now. As the system starts to detect the van in front of me, you see its red tail lights. I'm not sure you can see this properly, but the effect is to switch off only the lights or the bulbs in these headlights that affect the car. Now watch this car coming towards me. Individual bulbs are switched off to avoid blinding him, and then back on again once he's gone by. I hope you're getting this. Fully automatic. I'm not doing anything at all, not touching a single thing. It's working out which bulbs would blind the other drivers and just switching off those few. There you go. Little black box appears in effect around the truck, so he's not getting blinded, but I can still see around him on full beam. Clever, clever, clever stuff. Anyway, there you go. Matrix LED lights. Very cool. Going into a village now, so that blue light should go off, hopefully. Deactivating the full beam system, I should say. Just got into the 30 mile an hour. There we go. Automatic. GPS linked to the headlights. That's quite cool. Anyway, Matrix LED. Cool stuff. Moving on. So here's the south parking then. Oh dear, I've forgotten how to park my car. I need some technology to help me. Display changed in the middle. See little arrows and things on it. This helps you detect a space, so the parking sensors are now trying to find a space. And it finds when the arrow changes like that. Just stick it in reverse. Hands off the steering wheel. A little bit of throttle. And I'm not touching anything apart from the brake, controlling the power. And this is doing the steering for me. Is that weird or is that weird? What are you? Sorry, the man in front of me is trying to reverse into me. There we go. Steering, steering, steering.
Careful.
Straightens up and then tells you it's done its job. So this deal I was talking about earlier on, and what a deal it's been. So as I said, the A6 contract came up for renewal, and I didn't really want another 2-litre diesel. I want something a bit more powerful because I can't quite afford to have two cars yet. You know, one of them being a mad sports car, one being the boring family car. I still need to try and get both out of one car, if that makes sense. So I started looking, and 3-litre diesel Audi A5s seemed like a good idea. I looked at 4 Series BMWs, but I've driven them and I find the ride really hard and quite uncomfortable. And the Grand Sport 4 Series, the proportions don't look quite right to me. So I started to settle on A5 Sportback, so I'd get 5 doors and so on. But the dealership themselves said to be careful because the A5 was about to be replaced with the new version, and I then disliked the one I'd already got. So good advice. So one day playing on Auto Trader, like I'm sure many of us do, A7 started popping up. And in particular, I inquired on the bi-turbo, so 320 horsepower and mounted to torque, and it sounds fantastic too, even though it's diesel. And I inquired on one in particular with a view to buying it, but it had gone. Then to my amazement, the dealership offered me a brand new 272 horsepower, so not quite the bi-turbo, but very powerful, very quick, i.e. like this car, for the same money. So used, a 2-year-old bi-turbo, I could have a brand new one of these instead, which sounded too good to be true. But then the salesman in me came out, and I started thinking, well, how good a deal could I actually get if I just pushed it that little bit more? So I sent some emails to several Audi main dealers around the country saying, here's the colour and specification that I want, what can you do? And as it turns out, these dealerships are measured on a quota system. So many of each bracket or banding of car, if they meet those bandings and those quotas, then they get some significant kickers from the manufacturer. Significant enough for them to do what it takes to get the numbers in. So I play that to my advantage. It was September, almost the end of September, so the end of a quarter. And so my emails are falling on some very interested dealers. Some of them said, get lost, because they already made their numbers. But 4 came back with a, we're interested. And they started to, in effect, fight it out amongst them. In the end, to cut a long story short, I ended up with £19,800 off the list price and the tech pack included. Which, it doesn't matter how well or how clever you think you are, that's amazing. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. So for not very much more that I was paying per month for the 2-litre diesel A6, I've got myself this A7 that I've shown you in detail today. So as you can imagine, I was quite pleased with that. And that makes the driving experience all the better, knowing that I seem to have pulled a bit of a fast one. And the dealership gets his money too. The dealership actually made a loss on this particular car to the tune of several £1,000s. They really did. But they made their quota, because I was the last A7/A8 bracket to meet their quota for them. So they qualified for a bucket load of sort of commission, I guess you call it, or bonuses. So they were happy to. So there you go, the deal. Not bad, huh? Conclusion time. Well, normally I have a car for a day or maybe just a few hours and then have to try and come up with some sensible conclusions. But on this occasion, because it's my own car, I've been driving this for almost a year. Why haven't you driven it on camera before? Good question. Move on. So my conclusions would be that this car gives me a fantastic combination of powerful, very powerful car, which I can hammer when I want to, or I can cruise up and down motorways in comfort for hours at a time, which I need to because of my job. So it really is a master of all, I would say. Plenty of technology, all the connectivity that it's got, the Wi-Fi system, the heads-up display is all really useful. Some bits I don't like, the funny tailgate not being fully remote, has started to annoy me, which is a bit silly. It's a bit of a first world problem, isn't it? But you know, one of those things. But as a car, it's fantastic. Road tax, 145 quid a year for something that chucks out this much power is absolutely ridiculous. And I do get sort of 35-ish miles to the gallon or more if I'm cruising on the motorway. So, you know, combine that with 5 seats and a big boot, which makes it very practical. It's turned out rather well. And weirdly, and my wife's suspicious already, I'm not talking about changing it after a year. I absolutely love this car. So it's a bit of a keeper. So I'm going to hang on to it. So there you go. I couldn't recommend it enough. If you're in the market for a very smart looking coupe, large coupe, with plenty of power, give this one a go. Audi have done a tremendous job with this car. So well done, and a big thumbs up from me. That's really it for this review. I hope you've enjoyed it. A bit of a different one, having owned the car for a year. But if you've liked it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, as per usual. More subscribers and views I get, the more likely I am to get hold of more cars to test and to share with you. So please also share a link to this video, if you don't mind, with your friends and family. That would be great. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you again soon on Fast and Car Curious.
And the best part is the Wi-Fi! Obviously, Wi-Fi. Yeah.
All right. the Wi-Fi is the best bit of the whole car.